As a male with an eating disorder in the last century, I learned two really important concepts about food, and that they had nothing to do with food. So I remember going up in grade school and feeling a lot of pressure about deciding in high school what I had to do with the rest of my life. Make a decision about a high school for 4 years, because that will determine what kind of college you will get into, and what kind of college you'll get into will determine your career and income, socioeconomic level, and what all of society will label you as successful or not successful. I remember I felt so much pressure, but I didn't have the strength to say, I don't want this pressure. I don't know what I want to do, and I might want to change. And I thought, wow, I could think those things, but I couldn't say those things out loud. So that and lots of other stuff that I've written on in my first book, The 1% Factor, being a male, struggling with anorexia in high school at a time when Karen Carpenter died, and she was at the height of her eating disorder, and no one was discussing eating disorder with men, and no one was discussing how this was a mental disease, if you will, because it wasn't really about food. It was about being unhappy and feeling paralyzed and not knowing what to do and how to take action and how to seek for help. And all those things even compounded more with difficulty when you're a male, because people didn't think that men could get anorexia. I remember seeing a specialist who actually told my parents when we were all together, it's okay if your son is having a bowel movement once a week, and it's okay that he doesn't want to eat. It's a stage, it's a phase, he'll grow out of it. Well, that, like other stages and phases, clearly I have not grown out of, and I learned two important lessons about not liking the pressure that society gave me and family gave me, and feeling like I had to do things. I became so frustrated, and I became so tired, and I became sick because I wasn't healthy. I wasn't eating right. My goal was to have the caloric satisfaction of 1 peanut per day. Crazy, right? Well, hello, mental disease. And so I was able to do that, and I thought, well, if I could go on 1 peanut, I could probably go on nothing. And finally I got sick and tired. And a therapist once said to me, you can be sick and tired, and that's what got you here. But you won't get out of here until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Sometimes your best friend can be the devil that keeps you trapped, who's in your own head, because getting better and going out into the world as a well person, not as a sick person with secrets, can be really more daunting than staying where you are, because the devil you know, it gives you the comfort of what you know. So when I learned that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, not able to do a flight of stairs without feeling that my heart would pop out and almost faint, and seeing black dots in front of my eyes for most of my waking moments, and deciding to embrace college, deciding to embrace this pressure that society would give me, I made changes. I started to eat. I have to say parenthetically that I sort of said this to society because I went to 4 colleges and transferred every semester, because I said, society says pick 1 college, pick 1 career, 1 master's or 1 major, and follow it and graduate in 4 years. Well, I changed every semester. I went every summer, and I did college in 3 years with 2 masters. So I thought, I'm not going to do anything the traditional way. I don't know, Betty Davis once said, rules are made to be broken, at least mine are, by me. So that stayed with me for a long time. And when I started to refeed and start eating, the second huge lesson I learned was that when we start to eat and make decisions about eating and nourishment, and other than sex, it's taking something from the outside world and bringing into our body a foreign object. It's a hugely personal, choice-driven, violating to some degree act of love or violence however we pursue ingesting the world. And I learned that what we eat is not about what we're eating, but what's eating at us, or the lack of eating. It's not about what we're eating, but what's eating at us. So I learned to face my emotions and make healthy choices, eat when I'm physically hungry, not emotionally, spiritually, or sexually hungry, and also eat as much as I needed, not as much as I wanted, which are huge questions about food and our relationship to food. So to sum up lessons learned from living with an eating disorder, number one, you'll never make a change until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that means a huge question mark of what's next. You have to embrace that, bearing in mind there are lots of ways for you to define what's next. And number two, that our relationship with food, even having a Thanksgiving dinner and the next day saying, oh, I'm not going to have anything because of yesterday I overindulged, is anorectic behavior, if not anorexic. We're kind of sick regarding food as a society of overindulgence in the West, I think. That when we relate to our emotions relating to food, it's not about what we're eating, but what's eating at us. And when we can look at issues in our tissues and solve them, or at least be aware of them, we can make conscious choices towards feeding. With love in my heart and a firm commitment to spread wellness without walls, I'm Lawrence, expressing my gratitude to you for allowing me to express another lessons learned thus far. And I conclude this post by asking you, sometimes, have you ever found yourself saying, I am sick and tired of? Well, sure, you can say that. But when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll open your arms and open your hands, and they'll be empty because you can't reach for tomorrow's hope of uncertainty if they're full of yesterday's junk. And when our relationship comes to food, it's more about what's eating at us than what we're really eating.